Good evening, viewers, and welcome to the App Incubator segment of the show. Now, last week we looked at the software development cycle for an app that we developed in-house here at Zamtel for our KYC registration. This week we're going to begin in a very systematic manner showing you how you can develop your own mobile app that could possibly be deployed on the Zamtel mobile network. So I'm here with Milimo and her Zamtelligent Team IT to take us through this process. Can you take us through some of the considerations one takes into account in going about developing a mobile app?
Okay. First of all, it's a very, very important at the time when you come up with the idea to develop the mobile app, to look at the market, the competitive advantage. You'd have to ask yourself, does this particular application exist already on the market? And if it does, what will make yours different from the already existing application? It's very important to look at that if you're really interested in making sure that you generate revenue out of your application. You also have to consider the infrastructure integration. If you have to integrate with existing infrastructure, what existing infrastructure are you going to incorporate when you're developing the mobile application? Perhaps you want to access an existing database somewhere. For instance, if you want to access a database being hosted by National Archives, for instance, and you'd want users to have access to that information on the mobile phones, then you would consider that existing infrastructure and whatever database that you need to connect to. Then, as you are coming up with that idea of the app, you have to ask yourself, what value will this application bring to the users? Will it make sense? More than half the times when we develop applications, we want to solve a problem, an existing problem in the community. Another consideration you look at is the form and the mobility. In this case, we mean you'd have to consider that mobile applications, or mobile devices, sorry, in this case, they have limited screen space. And you also have to consider the resolution. We're not looking at laptops or PCs anymore. We're looking at mobile phone, tablets. Those have got smaller sizes, screen sizes. So as you're developing, you'd have to take that into serious consideration. Battery power as well is a challenge. It's not the same as using a laptop. Battery power on the mobile devices is a great challenge to us. So as you're coding, you have to code smartly, and you have to deploy early and often to actual mobile devices in order to validate responsiveness. In other words, test as widely as possible on many different mobile devices.
Okay, that's a great beginning. So really, ultimately, the success of your app will really be gauged by the number of people who download it. So you've got to have an app that's interesting, an app that's relevant. And we'd like people to think of developing an app that is relevant to Zambia and the Zambian people that will result in a great number of downloads. That will be the ultimate success of the apps that will be developed.
Absolutely.
So, what do we need in order to go about developing an Android application, mobile application? Okay. What's the arsenal? What are the weapons we need?
The weapons. The weapons that we need are certainly a computer. You need a computer or a mobile device. But it's best to start with a computer so that as you develop, you're able to debug the application as you're going along. And the operating systems that you can use are Windows, Mac or Macintosh, a Linux operating system. Then dwelling into the programming languages, you need to know Java. You can use C or C++ or Scala. These are the programming languages that you can use to develop a mobile application.
So assuming you already have a PC and you're interested in developing your app, do you have to go and buy the software? It must cost a lot of money.
No, the beauty about it all is that it's free software. You can download it. The required tools, before we take you to where you can download the software from, the required tools are Java Development Kit. It's a kit for Java development. I know I sound repetitive, but it is a kit for Java development. Then we also have the Android developer tools, which is a bundle. It's got so many other tools within it. The Java development kit is a software development environment for developing Java applications. And one of the prerequisites for developing in Android is that the developer has to know the Java language. That's very important. Then the JDK, or Java Development Kit, also contains the Java runtime environment and Java virtual machine for developing and compiling. Compiling is running the application, okay? And since we're going to use Java, we would have to install the JDK.
So how do we get our hands on this Java development kit?
Okay, before we get to show you where we're going to get the Java development kit, as well as the ADT, or the Android Developer Tools bundle, we need this as well to develop our Android app. We have the Eclipse. Within the bundle, we have Eclipse, which is an integrated development environment. And that is commonly used with Android development. And then we also have, within the same bundle, we've got the Android Software Development Kit tools for development and debugging the tools. Android Platform Tools as well is part and parcel of the bundle. We also have the Android SDK Manager. This is for managing the tools above in the SDK. Then we have the emulator for testing the application. Now, what this means is that you do not need an Android mobile device to successfully develop an application. You can use the emulator that comes with the bundle.
That emulates the Android phone, essentially,
yes,
doesn't it?
Yes, it does, yes. Now, back to your question. Where do we get the tools from? We're now going to introduce Herbert Ngobola, who is going to take us to the website, Zamtel website, where we have the links for downloading the tools for Android development, and he'll also take us through the installation of the Android tools.
Okay, so at the end of this, we should have our tools sitting on our computer, ready to start developing our code.
Yes, precisely.
Let me first start by reminding viewers of two important things which we'll be doing in the course of this program. The first thing we're going to do is that all the shows which are running, you can simply download them on our corporate website. We'll be putting all the resources on our corporate website so that once the show is done, you can easily download everything which we have done. And then secondly, we'll put the links for not just the shows which you have done, but also the link for the resources or the tools which you are doing for the development of the mobile application which we are doing. So to get the links which we have been taught, we can simply go to our website. Our website has a link for all the tools which we are using in our development. So if we look at our home website, we come down here where it says mobile app. This is the page where we have all the notes and all the sessions about the mobile app which we'll be developing. So we click on mobile app, and then it takes us to another page, Apps Incubator segment. And when you come down here on the downloads for tools, you find the link to the tools which we'll be using in the development. The first tool is the Java JDK tools. You can download it from here. And the second tool is the download and installation of the Android developer tools bundle. So we can first start by getting the JDK downloads. We click on this link, which you have on our website, and we follow it. It's here. So the link which I've just clicked, it has taken us to the Oracle website where we can download the Java SE. So we'll just go ahead and click Java Platform JDK 8. We'll click on Open, and it will take us to another page which says Java SE Development Kit 8 Downloads. And when we come down here, it says Java SE Development Kit 8, and the options which have been given 3 different operating systems: Linux, Solaris and Windows, and there's also Mac OS. But since our development we are going to use just Windows, we are going to download the Windows version of the JDK. But before we do the download, we must make sure that we have accepted the license agreement. So we click on Accept License Agreement, and it's thanking us for that. And then we go to the download here where it says JDK 8 Windows x64.exe. As we can see in our downloads folder, we have the JDK 8 Windows exe file, which we have just downloaded. In order for us to start the installation process, we just double click on the JDK 8 file, we double click it, we go ahead and click yes, just go ahead and click next. Go ahead and click next, and there we have it. It has started the installation process. Now that we're done with our JDK installation, we can go ahead and do the ADT bundle installation. So we go back on our website again. If we check on the second part, downloads for tools, we see that there's a link for ADT bundle installation. So we click on this link, and it takes us to another website, which is developer.android.com. You need to make sure that you visit this website often because it has a lot of items and tutorials and sample codes which you need to learn software development, especially Android development in this case. Click on this link which has been given here, and it takes us to the Get Android SDK page. And if we see again their terms and conditions, we won't go through that. We went through it already. And then here down it says, I have read and agreed with the above terms and conditions. So you click on I have agreed. And depending on your machine, you choose how many bits you have. If you have got 64, you choose 64. If 32, you choose 32. But since on our development we are going to use 64-bit, we are going to click on 64-bit, click 64-bit, and then we are ready to do the download of the SDK ADT bundle for Windows. So we click on this link here. And once again, if we go to our downloads folder, we see that we have a zip file, ADT bundle Windows x86-64. So this is a zip file. We copy it from here, and we can put it in a location which is very suitable for us. Myself, I had put it in C, local disk C, and then if you check here, you create a new folder, and you can even call it Android, and you unzip the file, the ADT bundle file which you have, open Eclipse folder, and then we'll find down here there's eclipse.exe. This is what is going to help us to learn Eclipse. Once we double click it, it will open Eclipse for us. And if we want to run the SDK manager, we go back to the root folder, we have SDK manager exe here. Once we double click it, we'll be able to run the SDK manager as well. But for a more detailed description of the functionality and how to use the SDK manager, my colleague Gilbert is going to take you on that.
Well, continuing from where Mr. Herbert left off, we're going to look at the Android SDK and what you need within it. We are going to install the platform tools, including the platform and the target API. Now, to do that, first thing we do is you revert to where you extracted your SDK. For me, it's in C drive, program files 86, Android, then Android SDK. In here, you find an icon for the SDK manager. When you double click that, it's going to open the SDK manager, which also shows the path of where you extracted it. Now, the first thing you need to do is have the tools. By default, the latest tools are already installed for you and downloaded, which is the SDK tools, the platform tools, and the build tools. If they are not, by some unfortunate circumstance, you can simply just click on them, come to down here to install packages, and install them. Now, the next thing we're going to do is, as you can see, we have a lot of API levels and a lot of Android operating system platforms. Now, the target platform that we're going to be looking at in the passing weeks is the Android 4.2.2 platform, which is the Jelly Bean platform. What you do is you simply click on the top left corner here, and it's going to put everything that needs to be installed. When you're done doing that, you come here to install 6 packages, as you can see down at the bottom. When you click, it's going to ask you to accept the licenses. So the first thing you're going to do is accept the licensing and then install. After you're done with that installation, you install the extras. Now the target extras we're looking for are the Android support library and the Google Play services. We do not need the Google Play services for Froyo because we're using Jelly Bean. Now in the Google Play services, that's where we find the API for having the Google Maps, the Google Drive, and all the other Google support systems that they created. Now, after that is all done, you are ready to start using the Android SDK platform and begin using the sources for Android. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how we install the SDK Manager and the SDK tools. Thank you.
Okay, so next week we'll be getting to the very exciting bit of actually getting our teeth into the matter at hand, which will be developing the actual mobile application. We're going to use an example. And viewers, what I want to say here is we now have the software tools sitting on our computer, and we're now ready to start developing the apps proper. Now, we will, during the course of the next 11 weeks, be developing our own Zamtel mobile app. But the intention of the program is to get you developing your own unique mobile app and not to just copy ours per se. So please pay attention over the next 11 weeks and get cracking on your own unique mobile app. And at the end of the series, we'll be hoping that some of the best apps will be deployed on the Zamtel network. So good luck to all of you, and let's get cracking for next week.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.